Hey everybody, my name is Philip Shepard. I'm a local real estate agent located right here in Northwest Arkansas. And today we're talking about why Northwest Arkansas has the best mountain towns in all of America. So let's talk about that. But before we begin, if you could like this video and also subscribe, that would make the world of difference. I try to produce as much content as humanly possible about Northwest Arkansas. It just makes sure that my content goes in front of the right people at the right time looking to move to Northwest Arkansas. Hey, that could be you. So thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. All right, so this is gonna be kind of a talk about Outside Magazine. So if you don't know what Outside Magazine, it's really, it's a magazine about the outside. Who'd have thought? But Outside Magazine just released an article about the best mountain towns in America, and Bentonville came in number 15. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is kind of talk why I believe, and arguably makes sense of course, why Northwest Arkansas has the best mountain towns in America in comparison to the other ones that they put on the list itself. So let's jump right into it. So I'm gonna link the actual link below with all of the mountain towns that the Outside Magazine references. But the first thing I wanna talk about why Northwest Arkansas in general just is a better mountain town than pretty much all the other towns on the list is the fact that you actually live in the mountains. I cannot stress this enough because the fact is when I moved here from Chicago, I was looking to live in a mountain town-esque area, and I quickly realized, like when I went to Colorado to check it out, was the fact that you can live in like Golden and Boulder and other places, but you live like an hour away from the mountains. And I was like, why would I want to go to a town, first of all, that I can't afford, but we'll talk about that later. Why would I go to a town that I live an hour away from the mountains? Like if I want to go there, I want to go there on the daily. I want to live at the base of a mountain. I want to be able to run out my door and go to a trail and go to a mountain. You know, so when they talk about these other towns, it's like you have to drive so long to actually get to the trailhead. And so it didn't make sense to me why you call these places mountain towns, because they're not really in the mountains, or you can't afford them in the mountains. And that's a little later point, but that's the major thing is like, I noticed these towns, like they sit so far away from the actual mountains themselves. Like for instance, I'm looking at like Sedona, Arizona. They listed as one of the better mountain towns in all of America. And it's like in Sedona, you have to drive pretty far, at least a good 30 minutes through all the weaving traffic and different places to actually get to a mountain to run or to hike or to ride your bike or anything. And so in Bentonville or Fayetteville or Rogers or Springdale, wherever it is in Northwest Arkansas, you literally just open up your garage door, you get on your bike and you ride. Sometimes a block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 4 blocks, who cares? It's like 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes, and you're at the trailhead. For me personally, I live in like Fayetteville, Farmington area, and I live at the base of Mount Kessler. So I literally run from my house to the trailhead and up the trailhead. So I live at the base of a mountain essentially. Like I don't have to drive anywhere, I don't have to do nothing. I can just ride, I just run right to the mountain. So when they consider these things like mountain towns, I was like, I don't know. It takes a minute to get to this mountain that you're considering. So I don't know. It depends on your version of mountain town, but I'm glad I live in Northwest Arkansas because if you live here, you're going to be in the mountain area. You live in the mountain. And the second thing I want to talk about living in a mountain town or living in Bentonville, Arkansas, the whole NWA area compared to the other ones is this. I mentioned this before, but it's actually affordable here. Now, this whole area is considered one of the most affordable areas in all of America. Now, if you type in Fayetteville, Arkansas anywhere, Fayetteville will come up as the most affordable place, one of the most affordable places to live in America, based on salaries, based on income, based on housing prices, based on everything. And so if you want to live in a mountain town and you're thinking, I want to go to Jackson Hole, Montana, it's like, it's going to cost you a pretty penny to get out there. And on top of that, you live so far away from the mountains. And on top of that, you live in the middle of nowhere. So you got to really consider what is this mountain town you're going to, and if you really want to be out there. And so it's really cool. In fact, is Northwest Arkansas, you can actually get here, get an affordable house, get a great job. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Get a great job and live inside the mountains. And so when they're talking about these mountain towns, these mountain places, I'm like, I mean, if you want to live in the middle of nowhere, if you don't really want to have a well-paying job, if you want to pay an extraordinary amount of money for housing, then go for it. But that's not for me. I don't know if that's for you, but it's definitely not for me. That reminds me. I have a 3-day itinerary. So maybe you're thinking about coming down to Northwest Arkansas just to check it out. I have a 3-day itinerary linked below. So maybe you're into art and culture, maybe you're into adventure, maybe you're into outdoors, and maybe you're a foodie, maybe you're into sightseeing, maybe you have kids. There's a 3-day itinerary linked below just for you. You'll quickly realize coming down here, there's so much to do. So the itinerary helps a lot, just kind of making sure you focus those couple core days on trying to see some of the most amazing things around Northwest Arkansas. And also when you do come down here, definitely give me a call because we can check out some homes for sale or for rent, and we can see how far your dollar will go in Northwest Arkansas compared to where you're coming from. And leading into the next one is jobs. So the one thing with these mountain towns that is kind of a ongoing thing and problem is that you can live in these towns, but are you really gonna get a good paying job or like a career that's gonna last you for, you know, more than 2 to 3 years? I don't know. There's not a lot of big companies that are moving into these small remote places. And so when you do come to Northwest Arkansas, there's obviously 3 biggest companies in the world exist here: Walmart, Tyson, JB Hunt. And on top of that, we have all sorts of new startups that are coming here that are just taking over the area because they see all the potential that Northwest Arkansas has to offer, because we have great transportation, great infrastructure. We have people moving here. We're a tech hub. We have all sorts of startup funding moving here. We have great medical. We have the college. We have people that are coming here for their law degrees. We have people coming here for residency for the hospitals. We have a children's hospital. We have a huge medical facility. The actual university holds so many patents. So anyway, I can go on and on. But the fact is that Northwest Arkansas has jobs, unlimited jobs. I'm gonna link below. I made a long video about how to get a job in Northwest Arkansas. I'm gonna leave some of those links below if you wanna kind of watch that. But one of the things that is interesting with mountain areas is the fact that there's no really jobs because they're remote. And it's great if you want to do that. Maybe if you do work remote, it's great for you. But if you still want that, you know, kind of community feel, you still want to be able to do things, which we'll talk about that in the next one. But if you want a job, you want to be able to do things. If you want all these things to do, maybe a mountain town isn't for you, and maybe Northwest Arkansas is a better place. I keep leaning into my next ones, but this next point is things to do, places to go, all the different things. And this is the interesting thing with these mountain towns, is because they focus so heavy on the outdoors in the mountain towns, which is obviously what they're there for, the whole thing is for. But the fact is that if you are kind of like an outdoorsy person, like you maybe not 100%, and you're trying to look for other things to do, maybe these mountain towns, like in Jackson Hole or maybe Asheville or other places like that, aren't the best places. Because like if you're not into 100% outdoors, then what do you do there? And that's where Northwest Arkansas kind of meets that intersection of great indoors and outdoors, because we have 400 miles or more than that, 400 miles of trail systems out here, both paved and also like soft trail that are like designed for biking, hiking, and running. And on top of that, we have a great indoor, thing too as well, because we have arts, culture, murals. We have all sorts of Broadway plays that come here, down to the Walton Arts Center in Fayetteville. We have all sorts of different artists that come here to perform, whether it's big names like Halsey, Machine Gun Kelly, even like other older bands that come here as well. So it's really cool to be in all the facilities and seeing just bands come through all the time. We had Garth Brooks here. He filled out the whole stadium to 70,000 people. Crazy. That's a lot of people. And on top of that, we have rock climbing, indoor rock climbing. We have gaming. We have roller skating. We have movies. We have all sorts of different things that a community would have, but yet we focus on the indoors and the outdoors and everything in between. So when you go to these other mountain towns, you're kind of like, stuck on the outdoors only, and there's nothing to do on the indoors, but Northwest Arkansas has both. And the other one I want to mention is that a lot of these mountain towns are kind of in the mountains, obviously, like they're in like the northern mountains with a lot of snow. But the thing is like, let's say for instance, between the time of October to March, you're not into snow skiing or anything like that, then you're gonna be kind of stuck indoors because it's gonna be cold, it's gonna be windy, it's gonna be frigid, negative temperatures, it's gonna be a lot of snow. So maybe you're not the best skier or you don't really wanna ski, you're kind of stuck indoors. And so with Northwest Arkansas is the fact that it's year round. Like you can bike all year round, you can run all year round, you can hike all year round. So if you are an outdoors person, the thing is that you can be outdoors all year round. We don't really get snow, honestly, very often. Like before I came here, there was like 7 years of no snow. So maybe, like that's one thing is you'll find other things to do outdoors in the wintertime that you really, that you can't do in other places. There's a big, huge kayaking community down here. There's a huge fly fishing community down here. There's a huge rock climbing community down here. And those are things you can do all year long, and you're not really stuck to a certain part of the year. You can do them all year long, so why not? And last, but certainly not least, and this is one of the biggest things when it comes to these mountain towns versus Bentonville, Northwest Arkansas, is the fact that even though we are a huge mountain town community, we can do both indoors, outdoors, we have jobs, we have all the different things. And on top of that, it's easy to to travel around. So we have major highways that crisscross here. So if we want to get out of Northwest Arkansas, if we want to go to Tulsa, if we want to go to Oklahoma City, if we want to go to Kansas City, if we want to go down to Hot Springs, if we want to go to Little Rock, if we want to go down to Dallas, Texas, Houston, if we want to go down to the ocean, it's so easy to get there because we just have major highways run through here, yet we're still a mountain town. And one of the things that is interesting with the mountain towns and other places is that to get there is kind of scary, to get out is kind of scary because you're literally traveling through the mountains. And so getting in and out is kind of sketchy sometimes. And so if you are someone who wants to be on the road and maybe you want to travel a lot, we also have XNA Airport, which has a ton of one-stop flights to anywhere in America. So it's easy to get in and out of Northwest Arkansas in comparison to these other mountain towns. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. I really appreciate you guys watching. Again, if you are thinking about moving down to Northwest Arkansas, download my 3-day itinerary link below. Maybe you're an art person, maybe you're into culture, maybe you're a foodie, maybe you're into adventure, maybe you're an outdoors person, maybe you have kids. There's a 3-day itinerary below just for you, because you'll quickly realize when you get down here, there's so much to do. So the itinerary helps a lot coming down here. Also, when you do come down here, definitely give me a call because we could check out some homes for sale or for rent, and we can see how far your dollar will go in Northwest Arkansas compared to where you're coming from. All right, guys, let's see you in the next one.